Hi, I'm Dwayne Whitcomb, founder of FiddleQuest. Thanks for joining me today on this teacher training video. And we are going to be talking about another topic for teachers that are in the level 1 songs with their students, or beginner students. And we're going to talk specifically about the practice tools that exist. So let's get started. So this student is in level 1. And we'll use the very first song, Blueberry Jam in level 1, to just go into a few of the practice tools. So, as we've talked about in previous videos, there are 3 main recordings for every song, and this is the case for whether it's a level 1 song or whether it's a level 10 song, the most advanced songs. The ready songs are the slow version. Essentially, there's various ways that we treat these 3 categories, but generally it goes from slow to fast. But there's sometimes the speed, being it's a very slow song to start with, we might break it down in other ways. So we have these 3 recordings, ready, set, and go, and then there is the practice tools. So this is the area that students are going to be working with mostly when they are at home in between lessons. And it is the area that gives them the most ability to break down a song or to focus on something. In level 1, we don't really need to break things down too much. The songs have very few concepts and few intervals. I mean, it's all open strings. So almost everything in level 1 is going to take place right here on this main page. But let's go into the practice tools, and then I'm going to get into some of the other things that pop up starting in level 2. So the first thing that you'll see in the practice tools is the chords. So these are the chords which teachers can use as well as parents or friends. And beneath there, the most common instruments that are going to be used to accompany the fiddlers are going to be either the guitar or the ukulele. And alongside the fingering charts that we offer, there's a small video here that will show them how they can play along on the guitar or on the ukulele. This is a really useful tool because so many parents want to be able to participate in their kids' music, but they don't particularly want to pick up the violin, and they've had some experience on a rhythm instrument like a guitar or ukulele in the past. And this is a great way to encourage them to be able to get involved making music, not just sort of making practices happen, but to be able to play music at home. There's really going to be just about 3 chords that they need to deal with for the first few levels, and the G, the D, and the A, and with maybe something else thrown in there. But for the most part, if they can play a G, D, and A, they're going to be able to play on the vast majority of songs in the first few levels of FiddleQuest. So the next tab that we have here is the instruction video. And this is a video that is only available for the first few levels of FiddleQuest. And it really is just a way for students to, when they're in between lessons and maybe they need a little extra support, it'll show them how to hold the bow and a few other concepts. With the bow hand, you want to make sure that you have your first knuckle here. In addition to the instruction videos, we also have student videos. These are the videos that after students have finished a song, and a way of marking, hey, you've completed the song and we're moving on to the next, is we shoot a video using the video recorder app that you can get off of iTunes Store or on Google Play. And so all of these videos will show up in 2 places. One, within the actual song, so you'll see all the videos that you see on this page are going to be for videos that were Blueberry Jam. But of course, if you want to, you can go and see all of the videos, no matter what they are, by going and clicking in the main menu, and here you can see all of the videos, no matter by search for student or search by the song name. So within level 1, these are the 3 main options that are available for within the practice tools. And the kids do get a lot out of being able to see the videos, so that's probably one of the more useful aspects of the practice tools. Being able to see kids that are their age or younger or older for that matter playing the song will instill confidence, and plus they get it into their ear. But there are 2 other tools that are available within practice tools that begin showing up in level 2. And even though this particular series is focused on level 1, I'm going to go ahead and give you a preview of what's to come. So level 2 songs introduce the left hand, and Boil 'em Cabbage is using all 3 fingers and is midway through level 2. And kids really like this song because it's one of the first fiddling melodies that they're able to tackle and play on their own, and it sounds really good when they play it on their own or with a guitar. So let's go into the practice tools, and you're going to see 2 new options here. The first thing is practice steps. So you'll recognize the chords, the instruction video, and the student videos tabs, but the 2 new things, practice steps and staff view. So let's start with the practice steps. Practice steps break the song down in the same way that teachers will break the song down when they're teaching a song by ear. So it'll just take phrase by phrase, and picking the right size phrase is really important depending on the age of the student and the level of the student. So let's use, we'll just go to step 1 here for Boil 'em Cabbage. So it's just playing that second finger on the D string, the F sharp, in that Run Puppy rhythm. And that is the very first phrase of Boil 'em Cabbage. So the kids will they'll recognize the Run Puppy rhythm, and they'll be playing it, and then when they feel like they've got it, then what they'll do is they'll click here, and it updates the progress bar. And it goes to step 2, and you'll hear it introduces the next measure, or in this case the next 2 measures. And it repeats. So this one takes the same rhythm throughout these 3 notes, and it just so happens that these 3 notes are the same exact notes that students just played in the prior song, which was a harmony to In the Jungle. They are actually playing the same sequence of notes. In that one, they just played 4 quarter notes for each one, and now they're just simply adding the rhythm to it. So it's a good example of being able to making a slight variation in the song, and it gives them a whole new song. So once they get that next step, again, they'll go, okay, I've got it. So then they click on to the next one. And then what it will do is, you can see over here, it tells you what measures it's working on. Now, you know, the kids are not using notation, so the question is, well, why do we even have the measure numbers here? The reason is that if you go to staff view, it will show you in this case, well, the staff, but without the notes. It just simply has rest. You can go and highlight a measure. In this case, this is measure 3, as you can see. And we have the recordings, ready, set, or go. We'll use ready. And you can see how it just loops that particular measure. And that corresponds to being able to, if you go back to practice steps, and you see here now it's only showing you the ones that have not been completed. And here you want to click load all steps, and it'll show you the ones that you already completed. So in this case, it's telling you it's starting in measure 3 and it's ending at the beginning of measure 4. So this can be a little bit confusing. It doesn't go through all the way through the end of measure 4, but the logic that we have set up for the within the program, the way we say it is, it starts here at the beginning of measure 3 and goes through the beginning of the next measure here, measure 4. So in this case, it goes from the beginning of measure 3 through the beginning of measure 7. So here, the students can then go in and highlight things by clicking down here, and that's a little looper, and then they can just grab the handles and move it as much as they want. This is the tool that kids will, students of all ages, will use throughout FiddleQuest. It becomes probably the most useful of the home practice tools, and it's also useful in a lesson where you want the student to be able to play along with the with the recording, and sometimes I'm going back and forth between me playing it with the student, and then I'll say, well, let's do it with the recording, because it is a different experience when they can, they have me playing and I'm kind of adjusting my tempo a little bit to accommodate them, and they might actually be kind of sneaking a peek at my fingers. But more than anything, what we want to do is make them comfortable playing at home and practicing at home. And the best way to do that is to emulate what it is they will do when they're at home. So I will select the measures and say, okay, let's maybe I'll give them 2 measures or two beats to count in, and 1, 2. And I'll let that go a few times, and then one of the teaching approaches that I use is I want kids to be the students to be the one to say, I've got it. And I will sometimes say, well, let's try again, or more than not, the students are tougher on themselves than I am, where they'll say, well, no, a few more times, and or one more time, and it's kind of nice, because really you want them to work it as much as they want to work it. And so if they have a desire to keep working a phrase, because I've given them the autonomy to do that, then I let them go for it. Sometimes some kids will just keep going with it. I'll say, you know what, I really think you've got it. And they'll go, okay. Because, they would spend, 5-10 minutes on a phrase that they're continually playing correctly. And so I'll say, I think we can move on now. But that's more rare. But usually the kids will go, okay, I think I got it. And I think, yeah, you're right. Let's go on to the next phrase. And so they might play this phrase here, and then I'll just say, okay, let's add another measure. And again, this gives them the modeling how they can practice at home. And we want them to pick up the best practices, so to speak, in the lesson, and then go home and be able to do it on their own. So the more that we can create the model of how they should be playing on their own right there in the lesson, and just take ourselves out of it and say, and then point out, say, hey, listen, that's exactly the way you can do it when you're at home. And in level 1, the kids are going to be usually much younger, and they're not going to have the wherewithal to be able to do staff view and even practice steps, and that's why I by and large I just simply don't have them in level 1. But as the kids are getting a little bit older and they're moving into level 3 and 4, for sure, they are able to take more responsibility for their own practices. And what we want to do is sort of just guide them gently into being in charge of their own learning, and make them feel like they have the tools and the motivation to be able to succeed at that. And that's a look at the practice tools of FiddleQuest. Thanks for joining me on this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.